We want Eric Mangini on. He joins us live. First things first later today. So you didn't love Gerard Mayo as a candidate, as a former Patriot coach with 3 rings. Now he's got the gig. Your interpretation is what?
It wasn't that I didn't love it, Colin. I just thought that if you're trying to get something different, if you're trying to bring in a bunch of new ideas, then he's probably not the guy. He's played there. He's only coached under Bill. There's no frame of reference in pro football outside of what he's learned in New England. And that doesn't mean he's not going to be open to new ideas, but what you're going to get is going to be consistent with what they've had there. And I had 2 very strong football fathers in Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells. And when I get a head coaching job, those were the guys that I drew on because I thought, who am I not to take the lessons I learned from them? They've won so much. So it's going to be no different for Gerard. And that's where I thought there was a real opportunity with Mike Vrabel to bring in someone who understands the culture, who's played there, who's got all those elements, but he has had the exposure at Ohio State, at Houston, at the Texans, at all those different places, at Tennessee, and he would bring a different perspective.
All right, so Belichick and the Falcons, it's out there. He's interviewed twice with them, or at least that's what we're being told. What do you make of those stories, Belichick, Atlanta?
I don't understand why that's getting announced. And when they say interview, does that mean that Bill's interviewing them? Like they're actually sitting down and interviewing Bill? What questions are they going to ask Bill that's going to determine whether or not he's qualified to coach the Atlanta Falcons? I think it's really a function of him going and seeing whether or not he can fit with the owner. And I doubt it's an interview as much as it is a get to know you. Can I be comfortable with you? Can we work together? Not only from Arthur Blank's perspective, but from Bill's perspective, because if that relationship is so critical, and especially for someone like Bill, who is very set in his ways.
Yeah, it's funny. So they bring back Mike McCarthy in Dallas. You tend to defend the coaches. You're a former coach. You know this stuff is hard. I can certainly say it's a layered discussion with McCarthy because Dak he got rid of his OC, his star OC, and the offense was better. So it's not like a Sirianni, Shane Steichen situation. Kellen Moore was a rock star, leaves, Dak's better. So my interpretation would be you're probably okay with Mike coming back.
Well, here's what I like. I like the fact that Jerry waited a few days, got the emotional part of the loss, got past that, because everybody wants you to feed Mike to the Lions. That's the initial answer that the fans want, is someone's got to pay for this. But as Jerry took a step back, I appreciate what he did in the sense that transition is hard. When you change coaching staffs, you lose all the built-up reps. You lose all the built-up experience. You lose the experience between the coaching staff and pro personnel, the coaching staff and the draft department, all those things that you're looking for that has made you a 3-term 12-4 team, you lose. And so to bring him back, the offense was very good this year, and the defense really faltered in the playoffs, which was surprising. It is hard, as much as we kill Philadelphia for their loss. Dallas has lost to the youngest team in the league, being 16-0 at home, with everything going in their favor. That's a pretty disappointing loss to get over. So I appreciate the fact that Jerry was able to take a step back and say, we're closer to this than we are far away, and making whole-scale changes isn't going to be productive in the short term.
So J-Mac thinks San Francisco is going to roll over the Packers, and the belief is young team, massive emotional win, being crowned, they've arrived. San Francisco, old, veteran, Kittle, Fred Warner, Shanahan, Trent Williams, and that it feels like rested veteran team's going to lay one on them this weekend. Do you give Green Bay any shot?
Here, to me, is where Green Bay has a shot. If they can just keep it close throughout the course of the game. Because the way that the 49ers work is, if they get on top early, it usually becomes an avalanche. 9 out of their 12 wins, they scored 30-plus. The other 3 wins were like 27, 27, 28. So when they're rolling, it's just hard to stop. Now, if you put Brock Purdy in a situation where he's in a close game and he's got to prove that he can win, he hasn't done that yet. And then if for some reason Green Bay has a lead in the second half, Shanahan's record when he's down by 7 in the second half, I think, is 4-42. So if they can just keep this thing close into the second half, then they've got a real shot because of the way that San Francisco has historically responded in those situations. And the nice thing, Colin, is when you have a young team, sometimes that ignorance is the best thing in the world. They don't know they're outgunned. They don't know the other team should win. There's that bravado that comes with youth that could be great.
Yeah, they're also a very good first quarter team. I don't think they have a turnover in the first quarter this year. I could be wrong, but they're not going to bury themselves. If they get buried, that's different. Chiefs, Bills, again, I think this is the transition year between stage 1 of the dynasty and then stage 2, which is now Mahomes is getting paid a lot of money and you got holes. But it is Andy Reid with extra days. Do you think that's a big deal? Kansas City with, Andy's the master of extra time.
Yeah, Kansas City is incredibly lucky with how this played out. To get 2 extra days to get healthy, to get 2 extra days of preparation is huge. And then going to this game, they're essentially healthy. Yesterday, Buffalo had 8 guys sitting out. 7 of them were, or maybe it was 9 guys sitting out. 7 of them were on offense. It was a walkthrough, and those guys sat out. And Kansas City had 1 guy sitting out, and it was a defensive player. So they're going to go and play this Bills team that could potentially be missing 3 corners, 3 linebackers, a safety, and have a dinged-up punter. After they get to play the Dolphins, that looked like the medical ward as well. So it's really positioned for Kansas City to win this game and have a huge edge going into the game, just purely from a rest and health perspective.
For the record, Jim Harbaugh. He is a great candidate. I would think everybody would be lined up for him. Everybody. I mean, his brother was a great coach. His dad was. He is. Why do you think there's some people that are just not quite, some owners are just not quite into it?
What I love about Jim is there's a lot of great college head coaches that come to pro football and can't make it. But Jim made it in college football, won the national championship in college football, has already shown that he can make it in pro football, has won everywhere he's been. But Jim's not the traditional coach that you necessarily run into. He is willing to do things that other people aren't. He is absolutely diehard, as diehard a football coach as I've ever been around in the most stereotypical way that you could have. He truly loves it, but he, there's a little quirkiness to it. It's a little bit different package than say your traditional coach would be, and some people can't get their head around it.
Sure.
But part of that is his charm. Part of that is his allows him to connect with so many players and coaches. It allows him to operate in environments that other coaches can't operate in, to coach players that other coaches can't coach. It's a unique package that if you're a traditional owner and businessman and you have a vision of what your coach should look like and be like, it may not be for you.
Yeah.
But you're making a mistake. But you're making a mistake because he wins, he's good, he's incredibly open-minded, and odds are whoever he goes, he's going to win again.
By the way, I just thought of something the other day. Ever since First Things First started getting good ratings, you've changed your loyalty to them, and you never come out to L.A. anymore. Remember when he used to love us? He'd come out, we'd go to dinner.
Colin.
Can't get him out here.
This is like your Philly take. It's a little bit unfair. It's a little bit unfair. I would love to come to California. Do you understand that it's like -3 degrees here? I would a visit out to California and a steak with you would be a outstanding offer. So make it happen.
All right, management. Hello, you. We're talking. Great seeing you.
If you only had your own show.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.